All right, all right. Last two examples here. Go ahead and pause the video and copy this problem down. I'm gonna start talking about it. This problem, we'll give it a little scenario. My phone broke and I need to get fixed. I took the phone to a local shop and they're charging me $50 for the replacement piece and $10 per hour to fix. The tech states that it can take him anywhere from 1 hour to 5 hours to fix. What is the domain and range for the scenario? Now, this has multiple parts. Again, it is going back to understanding what you're reading. So the first thing I'm going to do is, when thinking about domain and range, the first thing we need to figure out is, first of all, what is your equation? Because domain is the inputs, range is the outputs. So again, notice how here we're given some inputs, but I need to find my outputs, right? So first thing we need to do is write down the scenario in terms of words, right? So what happened here? I broke my phone. I took it to the shop, and again, notice how we're talking about money. So chances are I'm gonna have an equation based on money. So what is it that we're doing here? Well, it says I'm being charged $50 for the replacement piece. So I know I have to take care of my replacement piece, and I'm getting charged my hourly fee. And what I know about that, I know that that is going to give me my total cost, right? Yeah, notice how I'm not looking at numbers just yet. I am just looking at the facts, right? I need to get my phone fixed. I want to see an equation that is going to give me how much I'm going to spend to fix this. So I know that coming down to cost, I know that I am spending money on my replacement piece and I'm also spending money on my hourly fee because it's going to take some time to fix, right? And I know that all of this is going to give me my total cost. So when it comes to writing this, now I can start actually giving some variables. Well, we know that we're talking about hours. So I'm going to let H or X be the number of hours. And I'm going to let Y be the cost in dollars, right? So I wrote my equation, or I'm sorry, I wrote my scenario. I have a replacement piece that costs me money, and I need to pay for my hourly fee to get it fixed. And the total cost is what's going to be resulting from that. Now I have some scenarios, right, or some variables. So when it comes to writing my equation, well, I write down what I know. What do we know so far? Well, we know that the replacement piece costs $50. I put down the 50 because that is how much it cost me. 50. Notice how I'm not putting any variables because 50 has nothing to do with hours, and it's Y is the total cost, right? I already know how much this costs. This costs 50. So I just replaced that with the 50. And we can see this as a plus. So I'm going to put that plus there. Next, I have my hourly fee. Well, what does my hourly consist of? Well, I know it's $10 per hour, but it's per hour. Do we know how many hours we're working on it? No, right? Again, notice how we're going sentence by sentence. So this is 10 times X. Why 10 times X? Well, it's $10 per hour that it's being worked on. I don't know how many hours I've been working on it, so I have to put the variable X. And obviously, this is going to give me my total cost, which gives me Y, right? Or you can also do C of X if you're interested in that, right? It's a function notation. So there it is. My equation is Y equals 10X plus 50. I just wrote this in slope intercept form, right? So there's my equation. Y equals 10X plus 50. Now I'm going to transition to paper here to continue working on my domain and range. So the question says, what is the domain and what is the range? Well, this is my scenario. This is my equation. But let's go back to the scenario, right? We said it's the replacement plus the hourly fee, and that was total cost, right? Well, did the tech tell me anything important or anything useful? And again, going back, when you do your highlighting on your test, yeah, there's actually something really important. given to us. We know that it's $50 replacement fee, $10 per hour to fix. Notice how now you can see how we got 50 plus 10x, right? But the text states that it can take him anywhere from 1 hour to 5 hours to fix. That's really important, right? So text states that it can take us or him anywhere from 1 hour to 5 hours to fix. And I wrote that here. Text says 1 to 5 hours, right? Now, well, let's go back, right? We said we're looking for domain and we're looking for range. Well, what is domain? Well, domain is X, range is Y, right? But what is domain in this problem? Well, domain is the hours, the number of hours he spent working. Y is the cost. So if we sit here and we try to find our domain, well, what is my domain? Well, my domain is the number of hours he spent working on it. Well, what did he say he spent working on it? Well, he says, text says it could be anywhere from 1 to 5 hours. So, what is my input, right? What numbers can go in here? Well, it can take 1 hour. Can it take 2? Yeah. Can it take 3? Yeah. Can it take 4? Yeah. Can it take 5 hours? Yeah. So, notice how here my X is 1 to 5. Again, we can write this like so 1 to 5. In the problem, it didn't specify too much. So, and because they're charging hourly, we're going to go by hourly rates, right? But if you want to get technical, we can also just do this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? These two are the same thing, except if you guys remember, this is a discrete case. They're charging only hourly. This is a continuous case, which means this can take us, half an hour, 45 minutes, 15 minutes, right? So again, remember, know the difference. But my domain is my input, right? My input is the X's that are going in. It's the hours. So the tech told us that it can take us anywhere from 1 to 5 hours. Well, how do you find range? Well, we look at the equation. We can make our table. You guys remember, you can also use a calculator. I'm going to make the table just to get practice in. So what are our inputs? Well, our inputs can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Because he said that is how much it's going to take us, right? So if it takes 1 hour to get this phone fixed, well, we have an equation. Y is 10x plus 50. How do we get the range? You plug in or you substitute the inputs into the equation. So it's 10 times 1 plus 50. 10 times 2 plus 50. 10 times 3 plus 50. 10 times 4 plus 50. 10 times 5 plus 50. And again, we can sit here and find our range, our Y, our outputs. Here, it could be $60. Here, it could be 70, 80, 90, or 100. So going back to my equation or going back to this, what is my domain? Well, the domain is the inputs that could be used in this equation. So my inputs are 1 to 5 because it takes us a minimum of 1 hour and it could take us a maximum of 5 hours because that's what the text said. Well, what about our range? Well, my range is what came out of the equation. It's the y's. So what are the y's? Well, what is the least amount I am going to pay? The least amount is going to be 60. Why? Because I'm for sure paying for 1 hour because the text said it's going to take a minimum of 1 hour. So this is the smallest I can pay. I can pay 70. I can pay 80. I can pay 90. I can pay 100. Notice how, again, this is the discrete case. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 goes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want to make this more technical into the continuous case, if it can take us minutes, we can write this as the compound inequality like so. Which means, yeah, our price can be anywhere from $60 to $100. Why? Because 60 is the minimum you're going to pay because it's going to take us at least 1 hour to fix our phone, and 100 because That's the most you're going to pay. So there it is. My domain is 1 to 5. My range is 60 to 100. And again, I got this by plugging in my input and getting out my output. So yeah, be very careful on your test. And last but not least, we have solving a linear equation. 3x minus x plus 3 equals 3x plus 1. Now, if you guys remember to solve this, the first thing we need to do is distribution, right? We have a negative that's out of parentheses, I'm going to distribute that. We have a number that is outside of parentheses, I'm going to distribute that. So when I do this, I get 3x, negative times x is a negative x, negative times 3 is a negative 3. 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 1 is a positive 3. And now, again, this is solving an equation, guys. This is back to like the second week of school, the third week of school. Solving for x. Well, here, I'm going to combine like terms. 3x minus x gives me a 2x. Now here, we have variables on both sides. We're trying to move the smaller one. I'm going to take 2x to the other side. I can't combine here because they have the same variable. So I have negative 3 equals 1x plus 3. I have x's on the right side. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So I get 1x equals a negative 6. There it is. All right. So again, I know it's a little fast. Make sure you pause it. Make sure you understand what I'm doing. Be careful with all the steps. But again, we distributed, combine like terms, move x's to one side, constants to the other, and we solve for x. This is, second, third week of school stuff. Now, I did show you how to do this with a calculator. If you guys remember, we talked about this. We did NSolve. NSolve is a nice feature in a calculator that can show us how to solve an equation without actually doing it. Again, we go to calculator, we go to menu, algebra, and solve. So you guys remember, we type in the equation exactly as we see it. 3x minus parentheses x plus 3 equals 3 parentheses x plus 1 close parentheses. But remember, if we're going to do this and solve, you have to give the variable that you're solving for. You tell the calculator, hey calculator, I want you to solve for x. So I want you to take this equation, 3x minus x plus 3 equals 3 times x plus 1, and I want you to solve for x. When you do this, you get your answer. Now, again, I'm not telling you to do this on the test. You do whatever method you prefer, but make sure you know how to use this if you're going to use it on the test. Don't get it wrong because you're making silly mistakes. Make sure you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. So with that concludes our review. Again, copy this on a piece of paper, turn it into a sub, take a picture of it before you turn it in, and study this before your test on the 30th and 29th, I believe. Yep, 29th and 30th. I'm sorry, 28th and 29th. All right, but with that being said, good luck. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later.